While we all wait for the second part and a bigger economic package from the government, I want to focus on one specific section of society. Let me preface and begin and contextualize by saying that the topmost priority for any government, any nation, has to be their most vulnerable, the poorest of the poor. And there has been one economic package and a number of steps unveiled for those who are right now finding themselves in a situation that is hand to mouth because of the COVID-19 and the lockdown that it has required to happen. So number one priority remains the bottom of the pyramid. They definitely need more. Of course, you have corporate India asking for SOPs and help as well to ensure business continuity and that there is some kind of a growth in the economy. What about the guys in the middle? I'm talking about the salaried middle class who are the most diligent taxpayers and today find themselves facing an uncertain economic future. There have been job cuts, there have been pay cuts, and there will continue to be. So what has this section of society gone so far? It has got a 3-month moratorium on its EMIs, on its loans, but with a catch that they have to pay an additional interest for that period. So it's not come free. Secondly, they have been allowed to withdraw from their own future savings, which is their provident fund accounts. Is that really enough? And do we remember that this consuming class is what pushes a large part of the economy? Why has nothing been done for them? And is it time to refocus? To speak on this, I'm joined today by Mohandas Pai, by Madhavan Narayanan, and the head of the economic cell of the ruling party, the BJP, Gopal Krishna Agarwal. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Pai, let me just start by getting your view on, the topic that we've laid out with the disclaimer that it is not anyone's argument that we don't focus all our priorities on the poorest of the poor. We don't want to come across as selfish saying that while people don't have food to eat, give the salaried middle class more. My question is, why is there not even a conversation about this section of society?
No, Tamanna, I'm also very surprised that the government is keeping quiet on this segment of population. There are about 4 crore people who pay income tax under the head salaries. And a large part of these people are getting impacted. Now, we all understand the first priority for the government should be that 80 crore people who are below the poverty line. Government has done for them many things for them. Hopefully, they'll do more. Something more has to be done. And they should be the first priority. We all agree. Now, the second priority should be enabling businesses to pay salaries. Now, business has the capacity to hold on for maybe 2 or 3 months to pay salaries to a large extent to many people before the government has to step in to help them out. Now, that is where I think the government needs to do more. For example, giving income tax refunds only to up to 5 lakhs is not going to help much because, most people with 10, 20 employees need that much more money to pay salaries every month. So I think the government should first pay income tax, GST refund to everybody whose money is due. I estimate that between income tax, GST, and the 14% guaranteed return on GST to state, about 1 lakh crore has to be given. Second, I estimate that the government owes about 1 lakh crore between the NHAI, the railways, the health services, and all of the department for services rendered by companies for which they have not paid, maybe including the media. Why doesn't the government release money that is due to the people? Now, this money will enable many companies to at least use their own cash to pay salaries for 1 or 2 months till this thing ends. I read a report which says that, 25% of MSMEs and smaller companies have cash only for 1 month. So I think the 1 month is coming to an end. So this month is going to be, the challenging month for everybody. And this is going to continue for the next 3-4 months in a slow way, even if you open up economic activities not to come by. And the third thing is bank lending. SBI has said that they will give 10% more working capital. I think about 20% more working capital to customers who are in good state should be given. At least the government provides this kind of liquidity, giving people back their own money, providing bank liquidity for at least till the month of June. I think this can be saved. And if it doesn't do that now, Tamanna, my fear is people are giving up hope. People are saying nothing is going to happen. Government is not going to do anything for us. It's better we cut off people, we lay them off. We don't have to pay the April sales payroll. Whatever money we have, we'll conserve. So when it opens up, we have enough money to survive and to come back. If that is survival is there, we lose jobs.
So even for bigger businesses or even for small and medium businesses now waiting for a handout from the government, should there be some direct wage support? Madhavan, let me get your take in on this. If not wage support, can at least taxes, income taxes be deferred? Can the mandatory income taxes that are cut from salaries every month, which companies cut them, so there's no question of tax avoidance. Can at least that be deferred? Can some relief be given on GST on services? Can something be done for this class of people, or do they deserve nothing? They deserve to just keep paying taxes and hope that things get better. Even companies with huge cash reserves are not thinking twice before cutting pay or cutting jobs.
Before we go and discuss those details, Tamanna, let me say something that is conventionally a big worry for policymakers, which is fiscal deficit. Now we are in a unique situation this week where oil prices have crashed to zero and negative levels. And the other thing I want to tell you is that fiscal deficit in the current scenario is a solution, not a problem. Because there is a demand crisis, there is a staggered frozen economy. In order to unfreeze it, you have to put cash in the hands of everybody. Now, the important thing to remember before we go into the specific issue of taxes is that everything is interlinked in the economy. Middle class salary earners employ maid servants, or there's somebody in a small scale industry or SME who works as an accountant can be considered as a middle class.
Yeah.
And therefore, salaries earned and salaries spent are all both organically linked to middle class. So it is not fair to leave the middle class out of the equation. Having said that, let me agree with Mohandas Pai that yeah, the poor of the poor, the 400 million migrant workers need the utmost attention. But even there, including rickshaw pullers used by middle class, are part of that. As far as taxes are concerned, I am pretty much certain that since fiscal deficit is not a problem, letting go of some taxes is not a problem at all or should not be a problem at all. And this whole whipping boy syndrome of attacking or squeezing the middle class can be foregone in the current atmosphere. The other thing is that middle class also tends to be predictable spenders. They spend on travel, they spend on education, they spend on low cars and apartments, and they have loans to pay. So a moratorium is not enough because if they are suffering from pay cuts or salary freezes or layoffs in extreme cases, that also has to be considered. And therefore, giving a sense of assurance to the middle class that those shall not suffer and those shall not be hit by something that will make you extra cautious on spending is needed, because this assurance is organically linked to SMEs and other things in the economy, including migrant workers that the government talks about. So uh, let us look at
Yes.
GST, for instance.
Yes.
Services, yes, I take your
No,
point
so
that
let me take this across to Gopal Agarwal. Mr. Agarwal, you often put out recommendations for the government to follow. You head the economic cell of the ruling party, the BJP. Tell me why this complete ignoring of the middle class? I mean, this is your fulcrum of consumption in the economy. Who's going to buy the cars? Who's going to pay rent for those flats? Who is going to consume those services which will give employment and generate more employment in the economy if this class is completely left to the wolves right now?
No, it is not the issue that this class or SME or NBFC or middle class is being left out. When this lockdown started, the first priority was to take care of the lower strata of the
Yes.
population. And you all agree here, all the panelists, and you also agreed that initially the government came out with Garib Kalyan Yojana, where lot of money was made to flow through the lower strata of population. And here we thought that there are two issues that we can tackle. One is direct benefit to them so that they can get money, and that will also come into a circulation in the whole economy. If the money is going to certain sections which have a higher marginal utility of money, which will spend the money, ultimately it will come into the economic cycle, and the businesses, small businesses, though lot of businesses are closed, but still some businesses are
That the
open.
cycle is frozen currently.
No,
It-
but
It is about surviving when the cycle
ultimately,
begins.
Tamanna, ultimately that money will flow into the economy. One thing. Second was the large corporate house. Through RBI, government thought the large corporate house to run their businesses, to survive their businesses, industries, etc. RBI has come out with 2, 3 initiatives, and it amounts to almost 7.54 lakh crores either through credit availability. This will also create a liquidity into the system. The third thing is, and the government is also requested to continue for the corporates and other people to go and not come out with salary cuts or to come out with
Mr. Agarwal, may I tell you, I ask corporates this question all day, and what they say is that all intentions are great, but if you do not have wage support, we cannot promise this.
So
and small and medium businesses are already not promising it. We are seeing pay cuts and job cuts being announced everywhere, every day.
And what the third point I would like to tell you is that Mr. Madhavan also said that there is ample space of fiscal space for the government because the oil prices are quite low, inflation is quite low. RBI has given powers to borrow to the central government and the state government. Ample amount of borrowing is available for the central and the state government, and there is no crowding out effect for the private credit formation because there is no much demand for private capital formation debt. So, and with fiscal FRBM relaxation that everybody is suggesting, there will be ample space. The government is working on how best NBFC and SME can benefit out of it. Ultimately, what SME at present is wanting is some sort of salary support from the government. How they will, when they are made to pay the salaries, how they will continue.
So, Mr. Agarwal, please answer simply. So, do you think that there will be, in your view, do you think there will be some kind of a salary support, wage support in the works, and some relief on taxes? These are the two very clear things that can be done.
The issue of salaries, direct salary support to the employees of SME and small industries and some businesses is a question which is very complicated at present. The government and there are demands from everywhere. We have also received, we have met, you have also said, everybody is saying that the middle class, this small businesses, etc., are not in a position to make payment to their employees, etc. At the current situation, the government is requesting to make them payment because of the resource constraint at the government level also. But credit support, they are ready to give any kind of credit support. The second installment of 50,000 by RBI in TLTRO is meant specifically for small businesses and NBFC. And yesterday, a finance minister pushed banks to come out with credit loans to disbursement and other loans. The government is coming out with the credit availability.
Mr. Pai, you want to come in on this?
Oh, no, just 10 more seconds.
The solution seems to be indirect. The solution seems to be indirect. One minute, Mr. Agarwal, let me just get Mr. Pai in on this. You want to come in on this? The solution seems to be indirect. The question is that, if this section of society feels like they cannot consume any further, or they have to defer their consumption, is going to have a ripple effect.
Tamanna, I totally agree with you. I mean, Gopalji said that the RBI has released 6,50,000 crore or 7 lakh crore perfect life, but the banks are not lending. All the bank chairmen, public sector bank chairmen saying we need a credit guarantee fund to guarantee losses. Tomorrow you will lend, the finance minister say go and lend, then you end up in losses. Then what is the problem? Government is said to give you more capital, but they're all scared. If they start lending, they will be held accountable. So we need a credit guarantee fund. Out of 6 lakh or 7 lakh crore released by RBI, 6,30,000 crore is given back to RBI as deposit. Now, who has raised money in the bond market? Big companies, the public sector have raised money. Are the banks lending to smaller companies? No. So many of our companies have gone to the bank, they're turning them away. They're not lending money. Yes, giving credit support is important. Because to me, the first question is not solvency, is liquidity. There is no liquidity, Tamanna. Like you said, accounts receivable cannot be collected, is jammed. Account payable is not being paid. No checks are coming in, so you can't pay the check out. Now, you are my employee, I want to pay you, but I don't have money in the bank. What am I supposed to do? I need liquidity. At least give me liquidity, give me more working capital to everybody, and have a credit guarantee fund which guarantees the first 10% loss. Then we can survive a couple of months.
You
At
know,
least do that.
in the middle of this, also let's not forget the way a lot of Indian companies are now structured because of our labor laws, where there is a large number of employees who are not
Contract
permanent
labor.
laborers. They are on contract. They
They're
are
all
on
gone.
contract. Mr. Pai, no one owes them anything,
Yes.
but they have to run their families. They have to
Yes.
run, pay their rent,
Yes.
and they have
Yes.
to survive from month to month.
That is why, Tamanna, we are recommending that for all employees who got salary up to 25,000-30,000 rupees as per the PF, because all of the contract labor have got PF, create 4,000-5,000 rupees into their account for the next 3 months, so they can withdraw at least 4,000-5,000 rupees. Now the government is stuck, Tamanna, because for 20 crore women, they're giving only 500 rupees DBT per month. Now you give 3,000-4,000 rupees to people with PF, say the middle class, because they want more. The 20 crore woman will say, what about us? Why are you giving us less? Can the government give them 3,000-4,000 rupees for the next 3 months also? So I think these are big issues. That's a
No, so overall it has to be
I-
improved. Overall it has to be improved. Mr. Agarwal, even the 500 rupees in the DBT is too less. It's meager, it's abysmal. It needs to be improved.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. There is a problem with the middle class. There is a problem with the small businesses.
Even for the poor, sir,
even I am
500
telling you,
rupees in DBT is not going to
Yes.
help in any way.
so, but we have to also look into the resource constraint with the government. If you are talking about GST, state compensation to GST, how the center can go give to GST compensation, because it has to come through cess, and cess collection is not there. So the economy is in difficult
Gopalji,
situation.
a commitment was made to the state government when they all gave the sovereign power to the government. Now you can say it is a soft commitment. If they say the soft commitment, they'll all start going back and saying, we'll not agree with the center. We don't want GST, roll it back. That's the danger. That's why, if center should borrow money and give the
Okay, one minute.
The only way out is then fiscal
These overlapping voices are very difficult. So let's all relax.
Let me just say one thing.
Yeah.
This is not a time for conventional fiscal thinking.
Yes.
So whenever you talk of the traditional rules of resource constraint, collections should not apply. We are in a peculiar problematic situation where more spending is needed more than fiscal discipline. In fact, some out-of-the-box thinking is needed on the fiscal front, in which case, what is most important is what I call behavioral assurance, which is that any step by the government being taken or not being taken should not alter behavior in a negative impact on the economy. So the credit risk guarantee is one thing that Mohan mentioned. We could look at things like possibly an interest rate regime, which is towards a temporary zero repo regime, in which case some of the EMI benefits to the middle class may be, accruing extra. We may also look at the fact that there can be a big statement. Even, Sanjeev Sanyal, principal financial advisor to the government, was saying that it's not that we are not thinking big, but it's being calibrated. But please understand, a calibrated approach has its shortcomings, which is that it is not going to alter behavior. You are going to, unlike the US, which has announced a package, or Japan, which has announced an emergency, we need to give that statement of assurance from above.
Yes,
so that normal behavior is not altered.
I need to end this here. Some great
Tamanna,
has come in.
I will just 10 seconds. I would like to mention that RBI is also looking after the interest. They are the gap between repo and reverse repo rate is widening, so that the banks do not feel comfortable just by putting money into the
But it's
RBI.
not enough. Mr. Agarwal, finance from this discussion, and I hope it falls on the right ears.
Tamanna, can I make a point?
We need to crank up more.
Tamanna, can I make a point? Tamanna?
Last 10 seconds, please, Mr. Pai.
Yeah, Tamanna, why doesn't the bank ask the Reserve Bank to give, why didn't the government ask the Reserve Bank to give 3 lakh crores out of its Forex and gold reserve? There are 6,69,000 crores as of June 2019. Let them credit 3 lakh crores to the government. It will be a non-tax credit, and let them monetize it so it will not be taken as debt. The RBI does not require that kind of reserves. Why didn't the government ask the RBI to pay for a once in a century calamity? So I think government should be novel.
these kind of
We'll
solutions
have to
are
see. We'll have to see. There are always
being looked
concerns
after.
about whether the government is raiding the RBI reserves as well. So we will have to see.
There are
You
no
know, how
concerns.
this moves. A lot of ideas out there. I just want to reiterate in the end, and I want to thank all of you for joining us on this show. I want to reiterate in the end that everyone needs more. Yes, the poor should be our first priority. Those who are, don't have enough food to eat right now is the most important thing, more than anyone else's needs. Then you have to also look at the economy and make sure that there is some kind of continuity. But don't forget those who pay their taxes, who are the aspiration and who are the consuming class that drive the engine of this economy. They matter as well. With that message, I would like to thank all of you for joining us on the show this evening.